What's going on, guys? Happy here with my look at Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Now, I went to see the movie a couple days ago with my friends, and well, I was going to make this video a little bit sooner, but some stuff kind of got in the way, but regardless. Now, when I take a look at this, one thing to quickly note about me is that I enjoy going to see movies, and I see a lot of them, but I am terrible at just remembering basic things about movies. I just kind of go and kind of shut my brain down and see what's unfolding at the time. So I'm very bad at sometimes remembering names, remembering sequences of events in movies, and all this other kind of stuff. I usually need to see a movie like 2 or 3 times, maybe even more, in order to kind of catch everything. And I know people that can watch a movie once and will tell me like the most iconic things, everything word for word, and I'm just there like, oh yeah, that was mentioned in that movie, duh. But anyways, I wanted to talk about it because it is a Pokemon movie, and it's one of the biggest Pokemon things to come out in quite some time, with it being live action. So I figured I'd give my 2 cents on it, since I do enjoy talking about Pokemon in a very nostalgic sense. So that's what we're doing. So let's get on with that plot. So Pokemon Detective Pikachu stars Justice Smith as Tim, who is a young boy who lives in undescript town of X region, and I'll make a quick note on that later. But anyways, he gets a phone call saying that his father had died in a car accident, and he needs to go to Rhyme City in order to kind of collect his things and clean out his apartment and all that other kind of sad stuff when someone passes. So he goes to travel there. So Rhyme City is interesting in that it is a city where humans and Pokemon kind of coexist with each other, and well, it's strange because Pokemon are still kind of used as tools in Rhyme City. They're just not really in Pokeballs of any sort. Like there's no like trainers in their Pokemon. It's just people in their Pokemon. It's weird. But anyways, on that aside, there's also like no battles that happen in Rhyme City. So Tim goes to Rhyme City to go collect his father's things. He meets up with the commissioner there. I think it's commissioner. I'm not sure if it's commissioner or captain. Whatever. Head police dude, to go and meet up with him and all this stuff. He goes to the apartment to collect his things, and he meets up with a girl named Lucy, who is a reporter, an intern reporter, who says that she has like some leads on some creepy stuff that Tim's father had gotten himself into, and tries to pressure Tim into information, but Tim doesn't have any because he doesn't have a good relationship with his father. So eventually he gets inside the apartment just himself and kind of checks around the place, gets nostalgic a little bit, and then he opens up this little capsule with purple stuff in it and accidentally releases it, and it goes out the window. It only makes Tim cough, but we'll get back to that. He explores a little bit more, and then he hears a noise. He goes back to check what it was, and he finds a Pikachu. Now, the strange thing about this Pikachu is that it's voiced by Ryan Reynolds, and it starts talking. And Tim's freaking out, the Pikachu's freaking out, and then just at that time, the purple smog kind of infects some Apom that are outside of the window and makes them go crazy and attacks Tim and Pikachu. And basically from there, that's where the movie kind of takes its plot. It's all about Tim trying to figure out what that purple stuff was about, trying to figure out information on his father, and the Pikachu to try to figure out what it's all about, since it has amnesia. So that's basically the plot. Now, it's not the most complex plot ever, and I mean, it is a Pokemon-based thing, so it's not really supposed to. But I do have to give it a little bit of credit because it is a kid's film, and that's kind of the mentality that you have to put into this. The film wasn't made for me, per se, a 20-something individual trying to watch this thing. It's more made for kids. But what's interesting is that a lot of these like intense mystery films with twists and turns, they're more made for, you know, the older audience members. And they made the plot for this one interesting enough, I think, for, you know, the younger ages and all that stuff. It was basically a baby's first mystery film. It had enough intrigue to it. It had enough twists and turns to it that it was captivating, at least. To be honest, though, is that, like I mentioned earlier, I'm terrible when watching movies. I miss everything. But at the point that I do catch onto a film's biggest plot twist, and they expect me to still be kind of surprised by it, that's when I know the movie kind of goofed. And I could tell with this film quite early on what the big twist was going to be, and it made me sad a little bit. Like, I don't like catching the twist. I like to just be completely oblivious when I watch these films. But anywho, what can you do? I guess I was too smart for this one. So the plot wasn't made for me. What was made for me, though, was the world building. My god, just everything that this movie references Pokemon wise was fantastic. It was so cool. Just to start, I was a little worried at first when I first seen trailers and whatever, that they made Charizard like really furry, at least from what I'm remembering. I thought they made him look like really furry, and I was worried on that regard. But no, in the final product, he's very scaly looking, and that's exactly how I would picture a real life Charizard to look like. And like with Charizard like that, with Pokemon that I imagined would be furry, they looked furry. With Pokemon that I imagined would be scaly, they looked scaly. And even a few that I didn't know what to think they would be like, they looked really good as they were designed. The art designer for the Pokemon's designs, I'm not 100% sure what to call it. I'm terrible with this stuff. Whoever was in charge of coming up with their designs, A+ job. You did fantastic, and I give you full credits on that. And even just the design of the film itself, it's not really like a film noir. It's more like a film neon type of thing going on. Kind of reminds me of the newest Blade Runner film, if that's kind of the best example I can give. I never actually seen it, but from trailers and stuff like that, it looks just the colors are so vibrant and lively, and it looked so cool. And then there's also a few other sequences where they weren't like in the city, and they had some nice expanding nice expanding shots of the layout and all this stuff. So it looked good. The world building was good. It was nice to see Pokemon doing their thing. Even there was only one actual like battle in the film. The rest I would consider more to be like chase sequences. But even then, like, you got to see Pokemon's powers being used to their extent, and not even just like, you know, their basic attacks being used, but something that Pokemon would inherently be doing, they were also doing very well. It was so weird to see a Greninja not actively having its scarf, like its tongue scarf going on, and I'm sure you've seen it before, but this one was just like actively not having its tongue out, period. It was just like a frog, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. And there was reasons for why I was doing it, and it was super cool. Now, the same thing can't entirely be said about the actual main characters of the film. Tim was fine. I liked Justice Smith's performance. The girl who played Lucy, I apologize, I do not know your name. She was alright. She kind of played just like the secondary protagonist, helpful role type thing. She was not very involved too much. If anything, her Psyduck was more involved in the film, so whatever. Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu was hilarious, and it was awesome. And it's weird because I know people were unsure and are kind of skeptical about him playing Pikachu, since his voice would be so not fitting. And you're not wrong, but I think anyone can make anything their role if they do it like well enough. And there were some times where a little bit of Deadpool was kind of coming out of Pikachu's voice, but other than that, it was a really good performance, and Pikachu itself was a decent character, which is interesting because I freaking hate Pikachus, but they made this one good, so good job on that front. As for the villains, while I'm not going to get overly specific as to who they are, they were not the best. I don't know. The movie tries to throw you for some loops here and there, and that's kind of obvious. And like I said, I kind of caught on quick, so I think that might have kind of taken some points off because I caught on so quick. But yeah, their goals were weird. and their end objective was weird. And I'm not sure if what they were going to accomplish would have been... It was just a weird goal that they were trying to attain. And I don't know. I can't say much more on it. It was just weird. But anywho, it's so weird trying to talk about this, because if this was a video game review, I'd be talking like controls by this point. Obviously, I can't really talk about controls. I'm not controlling the film. As far as it's concerned with it comparing to the Detective Pikachu game, I haven't played it, so I'm not sure how well it coincides with it. I do kind of hope that I do get to see more from this property as a film, because I had zero reason to play Detective Pikachu the game, like zero need. And I looked at it, I saw what they were doing, I was like, I checked out immediately. But as a film, I would like to see more from this, but the ending makes it tricky to have more. I don't know, time will have to tell, see how well it's performing. What sucks is that Avengers Endgame is still in theaters, and it's still completely destroying box office records, so I don't know how well it's going to kind of do. I'm hoping it turns out good, and that people enjoy it, and that it convinces the executives and all these fancy smanchy people to make more. But the important thing to note about all this, I pretty much talked really all I can talk without spoiling too much, even though it's a simple film. But the important thing to note is that yes, this is absolutely a fantastic video game movie. They've finally done it. It's been so long. Gosh darn it, Sonic the Hedgehog could have been one, and they're ruining that. But no, this is a fantastic video game movie. Is it the best movie ever? Absolutely not. It's just such a simple movie. Such a simple, wholesome movie. And that's fine. But in terms of just the complexity of it all, I've seen better. In terms of like animations and the graphics and all that stuff, I've seen on par and better, kind of. I don't know. I guess that's really all I can bring up. I really enjoyed the film. It was completely nostalgic to me. Do I think it's the best movie ever? No. But it was certainly very enjoyable, and I hope all of you will find time to go see it. And I think that's where I'm going to cut it off for now before I start completely rambling. But go see the movie. It's great. And thank you all so much for watching. I hope you kind of got my gist out of this. If you have any other questions or anything like that, maybe stuff I might have missed, you want clarification, leave a comment. I'll respond back. But regardless, thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, I will see you all later.